Good afternoon, folks. It's Wednesday, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm going to be putting this motor together for my buddy Mike's truck. And I just wanted to film it so that it's all filmed and ready to go. I don't know what's going to be cut. It's probably going to be a lot of cutting. Because it just takes time to put parts together, and I'm sure everybody has seen putting the motor together, or if you haven't, you probably don't care about it. Anyway, I'm going to film putting this together. I'm going to take my time, try to do it as right as I can. I've cleaned all the parts that need cleaning, especially, let me show you. The biggest one being the oil pan. You can see I've cleaned every inch of it, and especially the inside. The inside is, when you're putting a new motor together, boy, that's the one you got to really worry about. The outside is just for looks, but if you got any grit or anything in there, that's bad juju on the motor. So just remember that when you're putting the motor together, clean as possible. Oh, let's see if I can get you in focus over here. Hey, look at there. All right. So the old motor I took out was the older style. It did not have this cover on the rear end, on the rear main seal. This new style has this cover, so we had to order one, so we've got it. And I want to tell you about a little product that in the automotive world maybe you haven't heard of, I don't know, but I found this stuff. It came from the ATV world, and it is wonderful gasket maker. So it's called the Bond 4. You can see that. I don't know if you can see it, but Bond 4. If you have any surfaces, it's especially useful for surfaces that don't use a gasket. So like 2 aluminum surfaces going back to back with no gasket, that's what this stuff is made for, like on ATVs. But I even use it with a gasket, and I just apply just a tiny little film to the gasket, just enough to cover it. And then I do it on both sides of the gasket, and then you sink that sucker home, and she'll be there with no leaks for a very, very long time. It's better than a lot of products I've seen. The only issue with it that I found is that it's hard to pry apart when you're taking it back off. But, you know, stuff like this rear main seal, hopefully we don't have to take it off for a very long time. So I'm going to use Bond 4. Just keep that in the back of your brain, because it is definitely worth using. And it's gray in color, it's not black. Ultra Black, which is the other product that I use, is a very good product. I don't have an issue with Ultra Black, but I do think that the Bond 4 is just a little bit better. And as you can see, I don't go crazy with it. I just smear a light coat on the outside of the gasket. I haven't done this side yet, just this side. I'm going to put it on, and then I'm going to put a light coat on this side of the gasket, and then I'll put the the part on and it'll be there, and she will not leak. It actually says to use a paintbrush to apply it. I don't use a paintbrush. I just kind of smear it on with the end of the bottle. And what I can't get, I'll just take my finger and just apply a little bit. And that does get on you, and it's like ultra black. Like, you can't get the junk off unless you wash your fingers really good and scrub them. But you know what? That's part of it. So just get a good, nice coat on it. And boy, it don't take much. You can do a lot of gasket sealing with one tube. The best thing is, I found, to get it off is wipe it while it's still wet. Wipe it off your finger while it's still wet. Then take your part. Put her on. Now you got to bolt her down. So I didn't have bolts that came with this either, because I suppose they wanted you to use the original bolts. But since the engine that we took apart didn't have this style rear main gasket or rear main seal, I didn't have bolts. Oh, another thing I wanted to do. And you don't have to do this if you don't want, but I like using thread locker. But I don't want to use a whole ton of it, and I actually should have blue for this, but I don't. I only have the red. So I'm just going to put, I'm talking about just a little drop, just so these nuts and bolts don't back off. Just a little drop on there. Well, I know I had another longer bolt. Let me go find my longer bolt. Ha! I found it. All right, that's on. That's good. Now I can bolt this engine up to my engine stand and start putting everything on it. Look at this, pretty nice. It's a really nice front cover. It's aluminum. Looks really well built. I'm happy with it. We put the front seal in. Of course, it came in the package. We get a hammer and tap that thing in. Geez, what a pain. What a pain, Chevrolet. Same thing as the back cover gasket. We're going to use some Yama Bond. What I like to do is put it on a piece of cardboard. That way you don't get your fingers all nasty. Okay. Oh, I got it all over the snout of the crank. That's not good. We'll have to fix that. Get up on there, tack in. Get it all over my fingers. Get it off of the crankshaft. Well, that's too much. Once you get it on your finger, sometimes it's easier just to use your finger. I try not to get it on my fingers, but stuff gets everywhere. It's kind of like anti-seize. And I'm talking about just a little light skim. That's all you need. Now, we got some little Allen head bolts. Little washers. I'm gonna go get a Allen wrench that fits this. Then you want to inspect everything on the front. I see that I got just the tiniest little piece of gasket maker on this chain. So I'm gonna make sure to get it off. You don't want that on there. Then we can proceed to putting this on. There we go. She snapped on in like she's supposed to. Now, I'm not putting these in there super tight. I'm just putting them in there where they're snug, because I'm going to get all the bolts in. Make sure the gasket fits before I go to tightening anything. All right. Let's see. There we go. Front cover on. So I think the next thing we do is put the oil pan on. To do that, we need to put the oil pump in. There's the oil pump bolt. Here's the little that snaps in. That snaps in. That's perfect. Now I got to get the pickup out of it. Alright, so I got the pickup off. The screen looks really nice inside there. I don't see any problem reusing it. I mean, you can shine a light in here and it's just a screen in there. It looks good. I don't see any issues with it. Oh, I do see an issue with it. This hole is littler. This is bigger than this. So that would be an issue. So I'm going to have to get a screen that fits this pump. Boy, that's terrible. Well, darn it. Yeah, that's much larger. That'll never go. All right. Well,